to actually get everything, because what you said is extremely important. Let me ask you this. Do you guys really believe if you can shift one idea in your mind, just one idea, you have over, they say, literally from 70 billion to 100 billion cells in your brain. And cells can carry multiple thoughts. Now, with you, you shifted one thought. One thought. That means one cell that holds one thought. How did that one thought just shift completely different outcomes? And how did that happen?
Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I'm sorry.
That's a heavy question. I know.
Yeah. I guess because of it shifting the way I viewed how I communicated and how I connected with people, that one thought allowed me to really lock in and be able to understand other people's like wants and needs and blocked off my own wants and needs from the conversation.
So it made you focus to the outside, correct?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? Now,
Yeah.
that focus to the outside, when you're now, because sometimes when we're talking to people, we're having a conversation in our own head, especially when you're doing sales. You're literally, oh, did I say this right? Oh my God, did this happen? So what you're saying is you flipped the lens to the outside. You had complete focus. Now, how did you utilize that mechanism of telling yourself no? How did you do that? And what did you do to actually tell yourself no? When you told yourself no, what happened and how did you shift that lens to the outside?
I guess I would say when I told myself no, like, because when you get to a door and you're talking with a person, in the back of your head you're thinking, okay, get the appointment set. I set appointments, so by being able to tell myself no, that's not going to happen, I was able just to relax and really get to understand the other person.
Excellent. Go ahead.
Yeah, so that gave me the opportunity to, instead, like you said, with millions of thoughts going in your head, those were shut off, and I was able to actually really just understand what this person might need at that moment.
Excellent. So you removed the clutter.
Yeah.
Okay. So you said something extremely important. What you're literally doing is you're shutting off certain thoughts that would trigger your sympathetic nervous system subconsciously. That walking up to someone's door is very intrusive. It's not an easy thing to do. Calling someone on the phone is intrusive. But people need certain things. That thought shuts that down. Right now, if I were to say, let's say, Muhammad, turn on your camera. Maybe he's not with me. Muhammad, are you there? Okay, maybe he went to the bathroom. Okay, now let's all make assumptions about what's going on with Muhammad. Everyone give me, okay, hold on. I'm here, my camera isn't, man, you ruined it. Okay. All right, see, I was just gonna go, that was gonna be a perfect example of right away, see how your mind just starts to come up with what? Reasoning. It starts to okay, what's going on? Is he devaluing me by turning off his camera? You know what I mean? Is he does he care? Right away, just your mind begins to come up with a million different things. Now, it's incredible what happens. It's incredible. It's really incredible when you can have instantaneous feedback to those situations. And you see yourself and you're like, oh my God, I'm so off. I'm so wrong. These are the things that are extremely important to understand. But what you did, Hamish, is this. The second you went up and you told yourself, no, I'm not going to entertain these ideas. I'm going to entertain these ideas. What you're doing is you're staying calm. You're staying in your parasympathetic nervous system mode. That mode is extremely important. That calmness is extremely important. Now, Hamish, what happens to your emotional state? Because today we're talking about emotions. What happens to your emotional state when you're walking up to a door? You're nervous. It's intrusive. People will slam the door in your face. Okay. You've had that done probably a million times. But what makes you how do you keep going? And then how do you stay calm? Then what do you do to shift your mind to stay calm? You're shutting down, you're shutting down your nervous system. That's what you're doing. So go ahead. I want you to comment about that.
Yeah. I actually changed my goal when I get up to the door now. When I get to the door, I just want to change the person that I'm speaking to in a positive way. Whether I get negative feedback, like someone's like, I'm not interested, slams the door on me right away, I hope that at least they see me smile and greet them in a positive way. And maybe that positive energy will help them later on in the day. So I just want to make people, elevate people to a higher energy level, or a more positive energy level.
Do you have to own that energy? Do you have to own that energy?
Huh?
You have to own that energy to actually, let's say, inject someone with that.
Well, yeah, it's got to be real to you, right? You got to be up, and you got to be happy. And one thing I've really strongly adopted is in the morning saying 5 things that I'm grateful for out loud, and that's really helped me maintain positive energy and a joy in my life, and being able to spread that. It's like at the end of the day, no matter what happens, I just want to make people's lives better, and even if it's just a little minute thing, like a smile, the one smile in their day, you know.
Excellent. So you've changed your focus pretty much from getting the sale to making someone smile. That's a completely different energy. And I just want you guys to understand, your energy is everything. Bottom line, what you feel in your heart is everything. That Wi-Fi that you have, that's in the center of your chest, that's everything. That's your success. That's your failure. That's your bank account going up or going down. That's your relationships going up or going down. It's right here. Everything is right here. Your bank account is right here. Your thoughts, be it positive or negative, is a deposit into the bank account of what? Your mental bank account. And every positive thought is a deposit. Every negative thought is a withdrawal. When you do that and you accumulate these kinds of things, there's a mental bank. Now, when you begin to feel good about yourself, you're not feeling down, you're gonna project that. And I'm telling you, it's gonna affect every part of your day, every relationship that you have, your financial situations, your health, everything about you is gonna go in that way. Right now, I swear to you, I'm gonna share this with you guys. I wasn't gonna share it, but my back is split in half. I swear to you. I'm in so much pain. I'm not joking with you. My back, like I tweaked my back a couple days ago, and I'm literally right now. I'm in a lot of pain. I need Mr. Pharmacist over there to give me some meds. But I'm just saying to you, did it show? Does it show for me in any which way? It doesn't show. Okay, why? Why am I able to overcome the pain? Why would someone be able to do something like that? Because at the end of the day, what I love to do is do this stuff. It doesn't matter. There's nothing that's going to stop me unless there's something that is beyond that I cannot control. So hell, can you flip your camera a little bit, because you're sideways and it's kind of bothering me. I'm sorry, but it's I'm sorry. It just it's okay. All right, let me regroup. Okay, guys. So now, from here, I just want you to understand, the second you align things up, and we'll go into the conversation. By the way, let me just shift away from this. Anybody else want to share? Anyone has anyone come into?
I got one.
Go ahead, Andreas.
So the information that I learned from one of the calls to where you said, your Bluetooth is connected and your energy. I was sitting in a negotiation with a solar deal, and I caught myself in the middle of the conversation, just like you said, when we're in a conversation and we have a conversation with ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed that I was trying to just fail, and I felt myself just trying to get a commission out of it. When I shut that thought down, and then I switched to Bluetooth to just really connecting with this person, because my in my mind I was fearful. I'm like, wow, this person has a big house. This is the lady. She's the decision maker. This is going to be a hard sale. She was pressuring me right when I got there, and I went
Hold on.
into.
Is this
Yeah.
outcome thinking? Is this
Yes.
outcome thinking or
Yeah.
process thinking?
I was
That's
thinking
outcome
of the
thinking.
outcome. Yep.
Exactly. Okay.
So I was
See how the
thinking of
mind
the
just shifts
outcome.
though? It's
Uh-huh.
automatic. It doesn't allow you to have a decision. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. So yeah, I was in outcome mindset, and I had a conversation with myself. I shut it down, and I just really focused on connecting with the person and going through the process. So that was one way that I learned the information, because I was shutting down the Bluetooth of a commission trying to connect, and it wasn't going through. And I shut it to I flipped it to a process, and just started connecting with the customer and how they actually wanted solar. And from that sale, I actually started negotiating and communicating differently on how does the customer want solar versus me selling solar. And my commissions went up with that. And then the last one was being in a higher room with higher executives. I really focused on my body language, and then I covered my mouth. To just kind of observe.
Look at you, Andres. I'm sorry, man. You're becoming dangerous, bro.
Yeah, I covered my mouth. I looked around. I stayed quiet. I was really focused on my body language, and I was just really focused on my non-communication, even though I didn't say anything. But I was just practicing the information that you share.
Excellent, man. Excellent. Very good. Muhammad, you had something.
Yeah, I used something you taught where you drop your want before you enter into a negotiation,
Excellent, man.
and that's exactly what I did.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Walked in and I dropped my want, and I tried to convey the message where I'm protecting their interests as well as mine.
Excellent, man. Excellent. That's right there. What you just said. That's the magic, because it's surrounded by one word. Can anybody think about it? It's just one word. Starts with the S. What your mind's going into a million different places now. It's like searching. This is called association areas in your brain, and now your mind is just looking. There's millions and millions and millions of ideas. There's billions of ideas in your mind, and your mind is just searching. Okay, just for one word. Think about that. Your mind is searching for one word that's related to an outside stimulus. So you mentioned something, and it's very difficult to catch these things, by the way, guys. Emotions are very difficult to label, because when an emotion is labeled, it becomes a feeling. That's the difference between emotions and feelings. Okay, so now when I'm feeling something, I have a label to the emotion. I've labeled it. So I'm trying to get you to label emotions. It's very difficult to do this stuff because we don't have the vocabulary usually. We don't usually go that deep to verbalize our emotions, be able to verbalize our emotions. So here, I'll just say it. The main point here is sincerity.
Mm-hmm.
When you become truly sincere inside here, I'm telling you, there's a power that you have that is, and this is what we're going to go through today. There's a power that is incredible. It's literally incredible. Sincerity in the heart is a safety in the heart. There's no fear in the heart. When you say, I'm dropping what? The outcome. And I'm dropping my want. And I'm going down to zero. I'm going down to actually neutral. I'm becoming content. I'm satisfied. There's no need. I'm not needy. I don't look like I'm needy. I look confident. It gives you a million different things. It's one thought. It's literally one thought. It's one thought. You just shift it, and your outcome is completely different. It's completely different. So I want you guys to understand the mind is a very powerful weapon, but it's got to be organized and prioritized properly towards certain situations. Once you do that, it's incredible. It's incredible. Like, I loved what Nay said last week. When she came on, she gave that little disclosure about what she learned. Man, that was just the way she put it together. She's sewing the words together. Extremely powerful. Just the way she put it together. It was really, really powerful. But the idea is just, it's encapsulated with certain emotions. And that's what grabs the human being. That's what grabs us, by the way. It's the emotion that's encompassed around the thought. It's the meaning. We all understand the meaning. But when the emotion comes through, man, you got something very special. It's incredible what you have when you can actually inject your words with emotions. And then when they are sincere, they hit the other person's heart, your sincerity is launched. It plunges into the other person's heart, and you know what it causes? What does it cause? What does sincerity cause?
Trust.
Excellent. Now you have the human connection. And trust in this world, guys, is everything. It's literally everything. Trust is your opportunity. Trust is your money. Trust is your relationship. Everything is about trust. Everything in this world is about trust. Has anybody watched I'm going to start with right after this, I'm going to start with the content. Has anyone on Netflix, has anyone watched Inventing Anna? Watch it. Watch that series and what she does with trust. It's incredible what she does. It's really, really incredible. But it's all based on trust. Now, some people have true trust, and some people have what? Delusion. They're just selling you illusions. And you'll see the difference. It's incredible. It's really, really incredible what you could do with trust. And especially if you have a little confidence in your lie. Okay? Now, we're going to go into the material here. Anybody else want to share anything real quick before we move forward? Go ahead, Sohail.
So last week I was in a negotiation. So I was in a negotiation last week we were trying to acquire a new lead vendor. So the lead vendor actually flew into Dallas, and he was in my conference room. He walked in as the prize because I wanted to purchase leads from the guy. And usually when I'm in these meetings, right, like I'm going for, in my mind, like my outcome is leads. Like I want leads at a good price. But this time I completely flipped it. I had my ear on, listening and digging for the truth. And when I heard the truth, I didn't make a left turn. I just kept going into it. I kept going further into it. And I put my wants for quality leads completely on the shelf. And I was digging for his pain point. And behold you, his pain point was, it was such a preliminary pain point in his business life cycle and where the company was at. I'll tell you exactly what the pain point was. They didn't have a setup for a merchant account service provider because they're in a high risk business. So it's really hard to get and then maintain a merchant account provider. So even if I had chased the lead, like that chase was wrong. So for me to be able to identify that their pain point was that they couldn't even accept money. But I had to dig for it. Like no one's gonna come in and say, "Hey, I want to sell you leads, but by the way, I can't even accept money." So after digging for it, and it helped me, and I put my wants on the side. I identified their pain points, and I went in to help them with their pain points. So I think this is not going to be a relationship where I just possibly get good leads, but actually I'm building a better, longer term relationship where if I see the only thing I don't only have money and he doesn't only have leads. I have 15 years, 12 years of experience. He has 12 years of experience. So now we're exchanging experience. So like I'm going to help him with the merchant account setup. And instead of like going for his leads, which he probably can't even produce, I'm going for something else I want from his experience.
Excellent. So this is just completely different form of trade now.
Correct.
But again, it's all about how you're computing here and you're computing here. But I'm telling you, it's all about here. Everything is about here. Most people don't study their own emotions enough. And I'm telling you, 99% of people don't do that. Once you begin to understand how you work down here, it's incredible what happens to you up here and how your mind begins to focus differently. Because a lot of people have a lot of information, but just to have the emotions behind the concept, that's a completely different world. That's wisdom, actually. That's knowing how to choose and make decisions.
And
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
The outcome of that meeting was he walked in as the prize, and as he walked out, he was saliving over my company, my resources, and me and my company became the prize. Completely flipped the script.
100%. 100%. And I'm telling you, man, people who know their craft and they know who they are and they know what to do down here, it's if they get a hold of you in terms of sales, I don't care who you are, you're gonna get sold. It's that incredible. But this is why maintaining sincerity is so important, because you're trying to protect the other person's interest. It's extremely important. Extremely important. Okay. So now, anybody else? We need to move forward. But I know, Ahmed, you want everybody to take the exam or the quiz real quick. You want everybody to do that right now before we
Yeah,
start?
let's start for 3 minutes.
Okay.
All
All
right.
right. So I'm gonna get off. Let you guys do that. Then we're gonna start. And I have a few videos for you guys. I have one video. We'll begin with one video. Then we'll go from there. But I'm telling you, this thing is literally your most expensive piece of real estate. It's right here. This makes everything. This makes your whole world. This is the most expensive piece of real estate that you own. It's right here. And we'll talk about that. Okay. But go ahead, Ahmed.
Yep. All right, everyone, the quiz, I sent it out at the beginning of class. I already have some responses, but if you haven't responded already, please fill it out. It should be very quick. I see Suhail, did you raise your hand? You have a question?
No, that was by accident. Sorry.
Oh, no problem. Okay. Another minute on the quiz before Wissam gets started.
Ahmed, are you done?
Just one more minute. I think
Okay.
two people, I think, still left. Okay. Sam, go ahead. If anyone's having trouble or you haven't submitted it yet, please do so by the end of class, and you could just text me if you have any issues. But Wissam, the floor is yours.
Okay, 1 second. All right, guys, here we go. Okay, so we've gone through the verbal language, we've gone through the behavioral language, and now we're going to go through the emotional language, which is the hardest thing to pick up, by the way. And this is where you're trying to pick up someone's Wi-Fi. Your Wi-Fi is automatically on. Their Wi-Fi is automatically on. To create the human connection, for you to actually connect to another person, you have to get their password and they have to get your password. And that sometimes will stop here, where if you're distrusting someone, what happens? You can never get to their heart. You can't. It's impossible because there's limitations. There's a filtering system that we have up here. So the most important thing for you to do is learn how to turn on and turn off your Wi-Fi. When you know how to do that, you can turn off. Think of it this way. If you are in a situation and someone is threatening you, what happens to this? You don't want to connect to that person at all. You want nothing to do with that person. You're actually repelled by that person. So, but what happens when somebody's hurt? You're actually seeking to help them. Your empathy system turns on. Your mirror neurons in your brain will activate and say, okay, you know what? Maybe something happened like this to my brother or my mom or something. You become empathetic. Those are constantly happening to you. So here, the emotional language is extremely important. And the emotional language is all about trust and safety. And that's what we're going to go through now. We're going to go through the next level, which is, we said it's about 38% of communication. But at the basis of it, it's all about that level of communication. And you pick up the emotional language through the verbal language and the behavioral language. If someone is emphasizing on a word and say, you know what, this is wrong, that emphasis gives emotion. You're picking up that emotional code in the emphasis of the word. Your behavior, like if you're like, imagine your expressions, I'm giving you a really mean face and I'm just like my expressions are just, or I'm extremely happy and I'm like, oh my God, and you're really mad. You're having a really bad day and I come into your presence and I'm like, hey, life is great. You're going to hate me. You don't want nothing to do with me because you're like, how do you do that all the time? Why are you so happy? Like, I don't get it. Like, why? What's like, how does that work? And I can't get myself to feel like that. So some people can even hate you for being happy. Okay. So, but that is incredible. The emotional language is the key. And you pick it up through your verbal language and you pick it up through the behavioral language from other people. And now you project it also. So now I want to show you a video here real quick. And this is what neuroscience is coming up with. And it's, okay. Here, let me do this. Let me try to expand it. But you guys can see it, correct? It's not expanding for some reason. Okay, I'm just going to play it. I have to learn these controls. I'm sorry, guys. But I want you to just watch his expressions, okay? And see what happens in the face. But this is what AI now is coming up with. They're literally can track, a robot can literally track your emotional states. And they know exactly what's happening. This is an algorithm now that's being ran in robots. And the brain, they're actually coming up with artificial intelligence, meaning the way the brain works. They're actually coming up with neural circuits. It's really, really incredible and scary, but it's incredible. Okay. But watch what happens to the face and watch what happens to the gauges on the side. Okay. Okay, what do you guys think of that? What do you guys think when they're actually communicating with someone? Don't all go at once. Okay. Nobody wants to raise their hand. Nobody wants to help me out. I'm drowning. Come on.
I think it's pretty cool that just by watching that, you realize how many little things in changes in your facial features really show all the emotions that you're going through.
100%.
It's something that is like these little subtle things are very apparent as far as understanding the emotional depth that most people are trying to hide in your emotional state, and how it was just crazy because like as he's changing his face, the grid and everything else is just like going crazy wild, and it was just really
Very good. Very good. Now, Hamish, just stay with me for 1 second. Now, think of all my statements that I just made prior to having someone raise their hand. What did I do? Think of all the small little statements. All the statements is like literally like playing a piano, by the way. You're literally playing a piano in somebody's mind, and you're trying to get them to behave in a certain way. What word did I use that actually triggered you to actually say, okay, you know what? I'm going to help out.
Well, at first I thought I'm sorry, I might be pronouncing your name Sohai.
Pretty close. Close.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I thought you were gonna answer because I noticed you reached forward, so I was like, I pulled back. But when you said nobody, I think was the one that.
Okay. See, it's a word, one word. You see what I'm saying? And it triggers everything. It causes behavior, and it's incredible. But everybody's watching everybody, and I'm watching everybody. But it's to me, it's just okay. How do I get one of you just to trigger one of you? And because I'm selling you something, help me. Oh yeah, nobody. You know what I mean? It's like, and the way I said it, like nobody. You see what I'm saying? It has an emotion. Help me. I'm weak. Oh my God. I'm a victim. I'm helpless. Right? Nobody, come on, guys. But you see that it's the emotion that triggers the final statements, that triggers the final behavior. Okay? Did you guys see that? Okay, so Hel, did you want to say something?
Yeah, two things real fast. So that's a great question, right? Like what triggers someone? And it sometimes is just one word or the emotions associated with that word. So for me, I got triggered. I was gonna speak up, and for me, the word was help. When
There you go.
somebody helps,
Very good.
I'm gonna do it.
Okay.
And yeah, great illustration. Also, as far as the video, what I picked up is how accurate your face displays true inner emotions sometimes. So somebody might display an inner emotion on their face, but when asked about it verbally, they state something like the polar opposite. And it's probably better to rely on the facial expressions than when they're trying to convince you on how their emotional state is.
No, I told you this is the most expensive piece of real estate, right here. The way you make your money is right here. The way you have relationships is right here. The way you create any kind of relationship, even with yourself, is right here. The way you look at yourself, the way you see yourself in the mirror, right here. Everything is about right here. This is the most expensive piece of real estate that you own. It's right here. And it conveys so much information. And the micro expressions that we share with other people, just the smallest little thing, and you see in the algorithm in the video, it's incredible. It's incredible how much information is leaking out by your own just face. Your own facial expressions and what they convey is literally, it's a language. It's a language on its own. You don't even have to speak. It's there. So, and if you begin, and I'm going to say this, if you begin to connect words with emotions, if you can compute at that level, because I'm telling you, it's another language. It's another language. If you can compute words with emotions and you can see the actual emotion, you can feel the actual emotion in the present moment when someone is saying it or acting upon it, you've become something different. Because now your mind is computing at a completely different level. And this is what we were talking about today. This is literally, it's all, emotions are everything. What differentiates human beings is we can communicate. But the most beautiful thing that we could do is we can communicate about our emotions and the way we actually feel. Now, are all emotions real? Are all ideas real? This is the danger. And can someone take emotions and thoughts and mask them into something that looks so beautiful, but it's the mirage in the desert? And they're masking things and they're showing you certain ideas and they're putting certain things together. And then they display it to you and you're like, oh my God, I have all the trust in the world. And then you get there and just disappointment beyond belief. You see how the world works. But it's beautiful when you can attain a trusting, and you can have trusting emotional energy while maintaining a precautious mind. You reach that level, that's a whole nother beast. I'm telling you, you can walk into any situation and you can dominate any conversation if you can attain those two things: trusting emotional energy and a precautious mind. You're at a completely different level. Okay? Now, let's go into this a little bit further. Now, watch this, guys. I'm going to show you certain parts of the brain and how they compute. Okay? So, emotional processing, sincerity, this is what we talked about earlier. Okay? Often involves genuine emotional expressions and what? Experiences and expressions. Okay? The amygdala, which is the fear center of the brain. It's literally your fear center. That's what gets triggered. That's what triggers your parasympathetic nervous system. Okay? Is associated with the limbic system. The limbic system is your subcortical areas of your brain, meaning the center of the brain. That's your emotional system. There's about 5 main parts in that system. I'm not going to go into that, but okay, are crucial for processing and generating like really our emotions. So you have a certain part of your brain that is emotions, and you have a certain part of your brain that's cognition. Frontal cortex, cognition. Okay, and you'll see right here the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex and the ventral medial prefrontal cortex. And there's a whole bunch of other regions in the brain, but that's literally your cognition. Those two areas are constantly in a fight. There's always a fight going on between what? Your emotional processing or your cognitive control. Bottom line, you're always in a fight. Okay? Now, some people are very intuitive. You know what they use? They use this process. Some people are extremely what? Algorithmic in thinking. They use what? This process. You need both. You need to understand both. Okay, now watch. Sincerity can also involve the regulations of one's thoughts, emotions, and behaviors to align with one's genuine intentions. This is literally maintaining your cognition, keeping yourself straight. So, Hamish, when you walked up onto the to the door, and you're knocking on the door, and you're telling yourself, drop the wand. Doesn't matter. I'm just gonna smile. It doesn't. What am I doing to this? I'm actually emotionally regulating. I'm emotionally regulating at that moment. That's what I'm doing. And I'm walking into the conversation with a different energy. So what am I doing? I'm projecting my Wi-Fi. I've changed my Wi-Fi signal. And that person can pick it up. I guarantee it. They can pick up your language. And that emotional state that you're in, it's vibrating and it's all around you. And when you put out your Wi-Fi, that person is going to pick it up. And if you seem like less of a threat, because when somebody's trying to sell you something, you know what that activates? Your sympathetic nervous system. That's what it activates. But I'm no longer a threat. I'm like, hey, how are you? How you doing? I love you. You're my best friend. Come here. Let me give you a hug. I'm a salesperson. Oh my God. Okay. But at the end of the day, you're not portraying any kind of threat to the person. So what you're doing by staying calm, you're becoming less threatening. This is the way it works. But you're using your cognition to control what? Your emotional processing by staying calm. Now, I bet you didn't know this last week, and I'm sure you didn't know this, but now you understand it, okay? Now watch this. Ow, that hurt my back, but it's all good. I love it. Okay, now watch. Guys, you didn't get that. That's supposed to be a joke. Nobody laughed. Okay, all right. Just wow, pulling teeth. Okay, all right. The prefrontal cortex. That one worked. Okay, I'm glad. Are you guys alive? Check your pulse. Okay, come on. All right, here we go. So what do I use that for? I'm shifting energy. Literally, I just shifted energy, right? Just to kind of get you up. That again, controlling energy. Okay. Now, the prefrontal cortex, especially the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, is involved in cognitive control processing. Okay. Frontal part of your brain. Okay. The frontal part of your brain is literally activated. Now, including inhibition control and decision making. This is right here. This is all about that. These two processes, if these are lined up properly, you're going to see things properly. If you're overly doing it here or you're overly doing it here, this can create a lot of what? Lack of movement. You want to make a decision. What the decision what? Paralysis. Analysis paralysis, right? This is from here. If you're not doing this right completely, okay, I'm not going to get into that. There's a lot more to this. Okay. These mechanisms contribute to the ability to behave sincerely by what? Suppressing deceptive or what? Manipulative tendencies. So Andreas, when you sat there and you're like, oh my God, this lady is a big house. I want this sale. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Outcome thinking. What are you doing? You're literally shutting this stuff down. You're like, listen, it's about what? If this lady really needs it, I'm going to sell it to her. If she doesn't, I don't care. It doesn't matter. But what are you doing? You're becoming content and you're becoming sincere. The second you do this, guys, the second you do this, you want true sincerity, drop outcomes. Because the second you drop an outcome, you drop the fear of the sale. You drop the fear of the relationship. You drop the fear and you become more sincere. True sincerity in the heart is when you can what? Remove comparison. That's one. The other is really, really becoming what? Dropping the outcomes, dropping your want, because you become now more sincere to what's happening in the moment. That's really, really cool. Okay, now I'm giving you the science. I've said this to a million guys. I've said to you a million times. Now I'm just giving you the science behind it. Okay, so now let's move forward. Now watch this. Okay, this is one of my favorite slides. Reason being is this. Man, that hurt. Okay. Oh, wow. Hold on. I'm sorry, guys. Okay. Now watch this. When you pick up a signal, subconsciously, when you pick up a signal from the outside world, when you're picking up any kind of stimulus from the outside world, this is what happens, okay? Your cingulate gyrus is the first place where it goes to. These are the association areas of the brain, okay? And this is where your information is stored. So it goes from here, watch this. It loops around to what? This is called the hippocampus, okay? The hippocampus is like a relay. It's of information in the brain. For your senses, 4 of them, except your smell, is linked to this part of your brain. So this is how the brain is actually processing information. It goes from here. What does it go to? It goes to the amygdala, which is what? Your fear center. It's the fear center. It goes first to the fear center of the brain. So what are you trying to pick up? Threat or what? Safety. That's what you're trying to pick up. That's the first place your brain goes to. Now what happens if you look at something and it looks like a spider and you're terrified of spiders, but you look that way and you're like, oh my God, your system just jerks. I'll give you a better example. You're in the movies, right? And you're sitting there and all the suspenseful scene is coming on and you're like, oh my God, and everybody's breathing heavy and Bilal, your wife, is next to you and she's like, oh my God, oh my, she's grabbing onto your arm and then bam, and everybody just jumps. Why do you do that? What do you think they're triggering? They're triggering this little part of your brain. And what's happening there is this. When that triggers, then you're like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. But then you're like, okay, I'm in the movie theater. There's no threat. There's literally no threat. Because your cognition just turned on again. Because you're assessing the situation. So now how does that happen? This happens now, it goes to what? Your hypothalamus is like this, the relay in the brain. It's like, I'm sorry, it's not the relay. It's your hypothalamus is like the thermostat. It controls your automatic nervous system. Your autonomic nervous system, the automatic side of your brain, that's what it controls. It's like a thermostat of your body. What it does is if it senses a threat, like you're in a movie theater, and Bilal, your wife now is like grabbing onto your arm. You're like, come on, what's wrong? Like, give me my arm back. What's wrong with you? You know, we're just in the theater. You're thinking cognitively. She's thinking emotionally. These are the things that are happening. But what's happening here is this. Your system gets triggered. Your amygdala sends a signal to what? Your hypothalamus. The hypothalamus says, oh my God, there's threat. It detects a threat. So if you're in sales, this is crucial. So now if it detects a threat, it turns on everything. Sugar levels in your bloodstream, it projects that. It pushes that into your bloodstream. Your heart rate increases it. You're breathing heavier because your sympathetic nervous system just turned on. But, and hold on. Watch this. This is all subconscious. It's not asking you for anything. This is all automatic. So no one gets to control this part. Now, this is what this system does. It goes from here all the way around. It goes to here. Now, what happens here? Watch this. What's this line right here? To the prefrontal cortex. This is where Bilal's at, because Bilal's Mr. Tough Guy, right? He doesn't get scared. Wifey, what's wrong with you? I'm right here. I'm Mr. He-Man. I'll protect you. So what? Bilal, I hope you're okay with this. Stop me if you're not. Okay, so
I'm good.
Bilal's worked out for about 35 years, so I'm kind of scared. Okay, so here, Okay, see humor, like all communication factors here, man. It's so incredible. Like when you can, it's just about creating the safety and the communication, but bringing people into ease. It's incredible. So now, what happens here after this whole automatic system is on? It sends a signal to your prefrontal cortex, and it says, "Listen, I've detected a threat. Is this real? Is this a real spider or not? Is this real threat or not?" So you jump in the movie theater, right? Then you're like, "Oh my God, what just happened to me?" Then you tell yourself what? It's not a threat. There's no threat here. So this is key, guys. There's two systems in your brain that are constantly working. That processing system, the automatic, turns into concrete thinking. That concrete thinking happens up here. So most of us, when we jump and we begin to react, you know what we stay in? We short circuit this buddy, my little buddy right here. We stop thinking. Now your emotions are hijacking what? And they flood your whole system. And then you go to something called the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal cortex. And if that triggers, it triggers your adrenal glands and it releases the cortisol into your bloodstream. And good luck trying to control your thought process after that. Now your brain is hijacked. You don't have any control over your emotions. And you're going to say some stupid things and you're going to do some stupid things. Then you're going to regret that later. And when this thing turns on again, you know what's going to happen? You're going to be like, "Man, I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm this, I'm that. I shouldn't have done that." And some people, when it's even worse than that, they don't even realize that they're actually doing something wrong. They'll never apologize. They'll never do certain things to actually do that. Okay? So when this is hijacked, it turns off about 90% of your thinking. It literally turns it off. Your critical thinking, it turns it off. This system, this is your subcortical system right here. Okay? So I'm just going to move forward here. Guys, this is a really cool study that was done, but it showed you what reaction times from people when you expect something, when you don't expect something. So when somebody's telling you the truth and you expect the truth, what happens? Your brain automatically reacts differently. Even the reaction times to things. We react differently when we feel a message is sincere. When we feel like a message is actually real. So the way they test people is what they do is this. They tell you like, okay, this is a valid trial, meaning that the square is going to appear here. So you don't see the square. They'll tell you that, but then they actually are measuring your eye reactions. So what they do is they tell you, okay, this is a valid trial, then it goes from here. This is an invalid trial. They'll actually tell you that the square is going to appear on the left side, but then they make it appear where? On the right side. So when you're deceiving people, what do you think happens? There's a whole bunch of cognition that has to take place. So different areas of your brain even have to compute. It's a whole I'm not going to get into this any further, okay? But even by choice, when they give you choice, I'm not going to get into that. But I'm just telling you, a real message, deceiving message. Even reaction times are different. So understand that. Imagine the facial expressions that are subconscious that people are picking up. And sometimes we pick up the wrong expressions as well. Sometimes somebody's really mad or they're not having a good day and has nothing to do with you. But you pick up on their cues and you're like, "Man, why are you treating me this way? This is not fair." Don't do that. Step back, analyze, drop your want. Maybe you need attention at that moment. Maybe Bilal, he's having a hard day. That tells me I shouldn't talk about you, Bilal. But he's having a hard day, and now he's all upset, and he needs a little more, tender love and care. Goes to his wife, "Wifey, I need a hug." And she's like, she doesn't have time for him right now. So he needs attention at a particular time, but he's not getting it. So what do you think is going to happen? "Oh, Bilal's I'm going to go work." He just leaves the room. You see what I'm saying? These things happen, guys. Communication, just nonverbal communication is incredible. It's incredible. It's an art. It's art. I'm telling you. Okay. All right. I'm going to move forward here. Now watch this. The emotional language and emotional intelligence is extremely important. Okay. It's a small little video.
When we hear the word emotion, most of us think of love, hate, happiness, or fear. Those strong feelings we experience throughout life. Our emotions are the driving force behind many of our behaviors, helpful and unhelpful. Just where do our emotions come from? Our brain is wired to look for threats or rewards. If one is detected, the feeling region of the brain alerts us through the release of chemical messages. Emotions are the effect of these chemical messages traveling from our brain through the body. When our brain detects a potential threat, our brain releases the stress hormones adrenaline and cortisol, which prepare us for a fight or flight response. When we detect or experience something rewarding, such as someone doing something nice for you, our brain releases dopamine, oxytocin, or serotonin. These are the chemicals that make us feel good and motivate us to continue on the task or behavior. In these instances, the feeling region of the brain kicks in before the thinking part. Sometimes the reactions of the feeling brain are so strong that it dominates our behaviors and we're unable to think rationally in the moment. Our emotions hijack our brain. While many of our emotional responses happen subconsciously, our thinking can influence our emotions, and sometimes this can be unhelpful. Just thinking about something threatening can trigger an emotional response. This is where we can manage our emotions with conscious thinking. Our emotions play a powerful role in the way we experience the world. Understanding and regulating our emotions through our thoughts and behaviors can help us take greater control of our brain and achieve our goals.
All right. What do you guys think? Does that summarize everything I just said?
Absolutely.
Okay. What do you guys think now? I'm just going to give here a little break before we move forward, and then we're going to get into a little Q&A. But I'm going to finish. I was going to finish the rest of the slides for 3.4, and I want you guys to see like this is all organized, like literally from day one all the way to the last module. Everything is one thought process. What you're learning is one thought process from A to Z. And you'll see how this is going to work. Pre-conversation, conversation, post-conversation. Well, it's really when you set it up, you'll be able to see everything and how it's connected. We've just been talking about the 4 different types of languages, and it's taken us about almost a month to go through. But these are essential in terms of that understanding. But what do you guys think of this process real quick before I move forward?
Yeah, what I picked up from it is that our brains are gonna have two things. One is gonna be a threat or a reward, and there's 3 chemicals that go into a reward. So if I can reduce people's thought process of me being a threat and flip it to a reward, that's when I can help people and regulate people.
100%. So imagine your smile. How important is your smile? Everybody
Yeah,
smile. Just let me see everybody smiling right now. Just smile. What's that? I'm telling you, that releases dopamine. I swear that releases chemicals in the brain. Let people see your pearly whites. Let people see your teeth. And you want money? You want just this small little expression. It's incredible. But listen, it takes 17 muscles in your face to smile. It takes 43 muscles in your face to frown. So think about that. You want to age faster? Keep frowning. Just smile. I swear to God, man, it's so incredible. But you have to feel good to be able to smile.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not easy. That's the hard part. Sometimes we feel like, well, man, I want nothing to do with the world. I hate the world. I hate people. Don't even look at me. Don't even, when you're really pissed off and somebody like you're pissed off at someone and you're in a conversation and they touch you. Don't touch me. It's like literally the smallest little things can trigger us to a whole nother level. Okay. So, but this is all communication. And if you get really good at this stuff, man, you'll never get in a fight. You'll never get hate. You'll go into necessary conflict. But I swear to you, I swear to you, you'll enjoy it. I swear to God, like when I go into necessary conflict, sometimes like I'm so in the and I see exactly what's going on. It scares me. Like, am I really manipulating someone in my own mind? I mean them the best, but it feels manipulative. Why? Because they don't even know what I'm doing. And I feel so scared. I literally feel scared because I don't want to do that. I don't want to hurt them in any which way. I'm actually protecting them more than they're protecting themselves, but they don't even know it. But it's that scary, I swear to you. But I'm having fun with it. I'm so calm on the inside. I'm having so much, it's fun. It's really fun. And you're like in the middle of a battle and you're going off. And it's like, I was gonna talk about my daughter, but I'm not gonna get into that. Okay, so let me move forward and see. I think there's one more slide, but I'm not sure. Okay, so come on. All right. So now watch this, guys. The ABCs of the emotional lens, which is the E lens. Okay, think of you have a lens from here as well. Okay, which is sincerity is the key. No fear. The second you remove the fear by dropping the outcome, here's the way it works now. Now connect it all together. When you drop the outcome, you're dropping the fear. When you drop the fear, you're switching your fear into what? Security and safety in the heart. You're replacing the fear with sincerity. You're dropping the want. So you're changing your emotional code, which is changing your emotional state. Okay? So now, reduce your expectations and your heart will become more sincere. When you drop the outcome, you're reducing what? Your expectations. What I expect from you, I'm dropping it. I become more sincere to what I'm really trying to do. If I really want to help you, I'll help you because I'm dropping my expectation. Okay? The root of sincerity is despairing to obtain what is in the hands of what? Others. Meaning, I don't compare. I want this, and I said, I become more sincere to my own self. I become more loyal to my own principles. I become more loyal to my own what? Wants and regulations. I true wants. I'm not going to get into that. That's a whole nother level. Okay. Second thing is honesty. Okay. Truth on your tongue. The second you do this and you drop outcomes, do you think you're going to be afraid to say the truth? And watch how that's going to build courage. Honesty is the root of courage. And courage is the spear that's going to go through fear. And if you do this properly, my God, what you could do in any situation. Okay? Then finally, you're going to present the truth through wisdom, meaning right application. You can see this wrong door, this wrong path, this is correct. I'm going to go here. This is where I need to be. Okay? I'm going to drop my want. When Hamish steps up to the door and he's like, hey, just smile. Look at, it's a beautiful day. The sun, oh my God, you feel the sun on my, look at the sun on my head, little hand right here. It's so amazing. And they're going to look at you like you're crazy. Man, how are you so happy? What, are you high? Is something wrong with you? No, man, I'm high on life. I love this. Oh my God. But you're truly feeling that. That is contagious. That's inspiring. That is motivating. It really is, man. And when your energy can become motivating, and when your energy can become inspiring, man, there's something. You're now projecting a completely different emotional code, and you're projecting a completely different Wi-Fi signal. So imagine that somebody is running on dial-up Wi-Fi versus somebody who's got like, man, you got 1 million gigs of space. Help me out, Bilal. Here, you're the guru on this stuff. But it's imagine like what happens, what kind of Wi-Fi signal you're actually, where not just one person can log on to your system, many people, and now you can lead literally through your emotional code. And when everybody's afraid, you stand strong. When everyone in the funeral, your father or your mother is literally collapsing, but you're standing strong. You want to be the strongest person at that level. This is not where your emotional code can carry people. Your confidence can carry people. The ship is going down, but you're like, listen, we have hope. You maintain that calmness in that state of fear. That's not easy to do. But this is how your Wi-Fi can save other people, literally. And then when you have that smile, everybody's in a state of fear, but you're smiling because you're calm and you're connected to a different source. That calmness in your heart is what saves everybody, because it keeps everybody what? Rational. That's incredible. That's true leadership. Leadership starts here, starts in the heart. It's feeling safe in a state of the utmost fear. That's where it starts. It starts right here. And when you can do that, and the fear hits, and everyone collapses, but you stand up like the fireman who's walking towards the fire, while everyone is what? Running out. That's you. That's who you want to be. And if you can get to these states, that's a completely different monster. You're a different beast. That's a completely different human being, by the way. You've engineered yourself in a completely different way. Because the chemical codes that get released into your mind and into your brain, and the decisions you make based on those processes, is completely different. When everyone is walking away, you're moving forward. And you're the only one out of 100 people that's going to do that. That's incredible. And then you get amazing results. Wow. When everyone's against you and you step forward and you're the only person that made the right choice. But it didn't matter. The social pressure didn't matter. Nothing mattered. It was about you. It's how you engineered your mind to stay calm in a state of fear. Really, really incredible. Okay? Now, I'm going to leave this till next week, but this is what we're going to go through next week. There's a 7-step process that we're going to go through, and safety literally was going to emerge. If you make someone feel safe, they're going to be more honest with you. They're going to be emotionally honest with you and verbally honest with you. You do that, that's going to create courage. You're allowing someone to become more courageous. Honesty breeds courage. Okay? Courage is needed for what? Confidence. Confidence is needed for what? For you to take responsibility. Bilal, I'm sorry. I cheated you here. You're the wrong. I'm sorry, man. I'm taking responsibility. You begin to take responsibility for your own actions. And now when you begin to take responsibility, what do you think is going to happen? You're going to become more fair, more just. Because you're going to listen, I know I got to you here, but you also did this. And I don't appreciate that either. Can you take responsibility for what you said? Just like I'm taking responsibility for what I said. Now what? You're assessing. And you're saying the truth, even if it's against yourself. This is a completely different level. Now, when you do that, what happens? People hand you trust. They give you trust. Trust is a gift. It's a gift that people hand you. But at the end of the day, where does trust start? Safety. You have to make the person feel safe. We'll go through that next week, and then we'll go from there. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I love this stuff. I hope you can see it. I mean, that's what I love to do. I think I was born. If I was seriously, if I were to be born 1,000 times and die 1,000 times, this is exactly what I would be doing. I wouldn't change anything in terms of what I'm doing right now. I love what I do. I really, really enjoy it. And even if I'm just whatever, I think you guys can see it. I think you guys can see it from my energy. I think I just love doing what I do. And this is where I believe you are in your talent. When you are in your talent and you're digging in the right place in your own mind, and then gold just starts to come out, man. And you're like, hey, man, oh my God, this is where you get high on life. This is where, you don't need any drugs. You have all the coping mechanisms in your mind, and you can release the chemicals that the drugs release through your responsibility, through your courage, through your honor, through your respect, through your dignity. Now you're building character. And watch when you stand at the end, man. It's incredible. It's really, really incredible when you can build that character. And now you're like a mountain. It doesn't move when the storm hits. That's really, really cool. All right. Quick questions, comments, concerns. I love this. Ask away if you have anything. If not, till next week. Use the information. Be honest. Be sincere. Be courageous. Be confident. Go ahead.
Yeah, I had a question actually about actually last week's session. We kind of ended and I wasn't able to ask you this. With all the sensory information that you're gathering in, how do you how do you build that multi-sensory information gathering? How do you strengthen that? Because it feels like sometimes it can feel like it's overwhelming. You're seeing so many things happening and being able to like really process that in a way.
Okay. So are you asking me how do I maintain focus? Is that
Yeah, I guess I'm just trying to think.
and give me a little more. Give me a little more in terms of your question. Because what you're doing, okay, let me try to add a little more. Maybe I'm getting what you're saying. And if I'm not, just correct me. Are you asking me how do I decipher between all this information that's coming in? How do I know what to focus on? Okay, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So watch this. I'll answer it this way. So your brain is taking in, I think they say the last time I checked, it was about over 11 million bits of information per second. So right now, every one of you is maybe sitting or standing. If you're sitting, think of the pressure of the seat on your body. Now you're noticing it. You didn't notice it before. You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
now that I shifted your attentional focus to it, what happens? You noticed it. So that tells you there's information that's coming in without you even knowing. So your brain has a conscious level and a subconscious level. The subconscious brain is taking in all that information. Okay? Your conscious brain, how does that work? It filters out information by something called your reticular formation and your thalamus. Those parts of the brain filter out information. Those 11 million bits of information, filter it out to what? About 7 bits of information. That's how much you can handle. Okay? So that's your conscious brain. Your subconscious brain can handle so much. Okay? Think of a bird that just flew by. If a bird just flew by, your brain tracked its motion, its direction, the way it's flapping its wings, the color, the way if it's singing or not. It literally did all that and says, here's a bird. Think of, then it tells you how far it is, how close it is. Is there a tree in front of it? It's checking all the landscape. It's computing all that at once. All that information is coming in. And now it tells you, here's your focus. It's a bird. And you label it. That's really incredible in terms of what your mind can do. So when it filters that out, it filters out all the information. I'll give you a great example of the way it does it. Think of the last time you bought a car. You didn't notice the car before, but as soon as you have it now, what happens?
See it everywhere.
You see it everywhere. Why? Because now it became important. So that filtration system works on importance, whatever is important to you. So think of everyone else's importance. Think of you go to a football game, basketball game, parade, whatever. Everyone has different things that are important to them. So everyone's going to have a different story of the football game, the parade, the basketball game, baseball. It doesn't matter. They're going to have a different story of the event because it's based on their perspective, their lens. That filtration system has a hierarchy. And this is based on what's most important to you. So when somebody tells you, oh, I just forgot, you know what they're really saying? You're not important enough. I didn't mean it. You're not important enough. I'm not saying that this is true all the time, but this is a very good indicator. When somebody forgets something, trust me, it's because it's not important enough to them. So at that moment, and at that moment, you have to realize, put 7 goals together. Just put 7 goals together for those 7 slots of information. And you want your goal to be more potent? Go, whether you believe in the hereafter or not, cross that bridge. Cross the bridge of the hereafter in your mind and advise yourself when you have already passed. Tell yourself, talk to yourself from that perspective and tell yourself, hey, Hamish, man, shouldn't have done that, bro. You know, And like, hey man, that's not you. You should like, come on. You know what I mean? You begin to advise yourself because this is real sincerity, because there's fear involved as well. But you become brutally honest with yourself when you're setting those goals. So advise yourself from there. When you do that and you get those 7 slots and you make them, you connect those 7 goals, true 7 goals, to emotions that really mean a lot to you, now you have something. Because you know what your mind is going to do? Everything that's connected to those goals that is important, just like you picked up the car, you're driving, and you're like, oh my God, there's a white one, there's a green one, there's a blue one. You're picking up all, your mind starts to bring all that information that's connected to those goals to your what? Line of consciousness. You begin to see it. You begin to see what is important to you, which is really X-ray glasses. You have X-ray, like literally you can see things that other people do not see because your focus has a different hierarchy of importance. And imagine ideas now. Ideas are like perspectives. Imagine the person who has the highest level of ideas. And those ideas don't even exist in your brain. You don't even own those ideas. But imagine that person has those ideas and they're connected to them emotionally. That's success. Because the brain is trained. The ears are trained. The eyes are trained to pick up just sensory information at a completely different level. And this is the person who's walking towards the fire while everyone is what? Walking away. Because they feel safe. They feel safe. That threat system isn't on anymore. That's incredible. When you can, again, we're going a little bit deeper, but that's a much deeper question than you got it, right? I hope I didn't go too far.
No, that was great.
All right.
Thank you so much
All
for
right,
that.
very good. Any more questions, guys? I think we're done, but let's leave one last question real quick.
So
Anybody?
I have a
Go ahead, Nate.
So, quick question. So I feel like this lesson today really hit home for me because my emotions are on my face. Well, they used to be. And I didn't like it because I can literally have a conversation with the person, whether it's business, personal, and the person that I'm speaking with can pretty much know everything that I am thinking while they're speaking. So that's just something that I've dealt with lifelong. So I would say maybe the past 3 years, 4 years, I've definitely altered that where now I just have a straight face for everything. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I just feel that it has to be neutral
Very
because
good.
I feel that me living my whole life of just having my emotions and my thoughts literally show on my face for every aspect, it just wasn't good. I don't like, it's kind of like a person being able to look at a person and just literally read them. I don't like that. So for the past 3-4 years, I just have this poker face for everything. And I feel like that's a good medium because no one should just be able to sit down and have a conversation and the emotions just are that strong to where they can literally tell everything that you're thinking.
Excellent. And that's very, very powerful what you just said.
Mhm.
It's
So is that a good thing? You think the poker face is good? Just keep the poker face. I've been doing this for 3-4 years now, and I think it works great. It's a much better than what I've dealt with for many years before.
okay. So it's a beautiful question. Anybody want to answer, by the way? Anybody want to give a comment here before I say anything?
So I can relate to this because my emotions, like, tell a lot of, because I'm leaking information through my face. So like, I start doing the same thing now. And I feel like that's the best position to be in. So people are not reading your face. And sometimes people actually read it wrong as well.
Very good. Very good. So anybody else want to comment? Bilal, strong man.
I have a question though, but yeah, I'll save it for later.
Okay. So okay, so here is the poker face the right thing to do?
Well, I think it depends on the situation, really.
There you go. There you
As
go.
far as like, if your true emotions are in sync with the conversation or what the purpose is, I feel that you're going to get farther by expressing those emotions and being able to do that. If something like in your, like, let's say you had a speeding ticket and you dealt with this, or you had something else going on and that's kind of affecting your emotional status, putting on that poker face is good, because sometimes you'll have stuff that has recently happened that is affecting your emotions leak through, and then the other person that you're communicating with will get confused by that and maybe think that, maybe lose trust in you because they're not able to connect those things. But like I said, if you're in line, if you're in tune, I feel that the poker face could be more of a disadvantage to you because you're not sharing your truth.
Very, very good point. Okay, so what the real question, Nay, is here is, should your, because we said earlier that your languages should line up. Once you line up, you have everything, right? So your true face is really here. The expressions on your face are really in here first. You see what I'm saying? It's really what you're feeling. And what you're trying to do is cover what you're feeling here. That's what we're really trying to do. And so we're beginning to try to hide our intentions, let's say. Okay. Can that be a good thing? Sure. Can that be a bad thing? Sure. It could be both. Now, what we're really saying is this: should our languages ever be misaligned deliberately? You see what I'm saying? So that's what we're really saying. We're saying, should my verbal language be different than my emotional language? Should my facial expressions, which is behavioral, be different than what I'm feeling? Is that good or is that bad? So we said earlier that if you're aligned, your verbal, behavioral, emotional, and dress language are all aligned, that conveys trust. What about this? Let me give you a certain situation. I had to tell my mom, the doctor came in, I had to tell my mom that she wasn't going to live long. Think about that kind of message to convey to someone that's actually sitting in a hospital bed. You know what I did? I didn't convey the message. I smiled. My heart was being torn apart. I was just smiling. Now, my emotional language was different than what? My facial language. That situation is not easy. That wasn't easy for me to do. And imagine I just heard this and I'm translating the information to my mom because she doesn't understand English. So think about that. So sometimes you have to have the pain in your heart, but a smile on your face. And that's not easy. That's not easy to do. So sometimes situations will call for you to be misaligned, but that's wisdom. That's having situational wisdom and situational awareness to apply where you can shift, you can disconnect, and you can give a certain message where my Wi-Fi, I'm in a lot of pain, but to an expert, you won't be able to turn that off. You won't be able, they'll pick it up anyway. They'll pick that up from you. The smallest little nuances of emotion, they'll be able to pick it up because their Wi-Fi is geared to pick up on small little frequencies because they've actually honed themselves to be that strong. So what you're saying is beautiful, Nay, by the way. It's really, really beautiful. So, but that's going to come later. Your question is going to come later. Should I completely have that? Yes. In the right situation, beautiful. Wrong situation can really hurt you as well. You see what I'm saying? So it's just about application. Knowing that is crucial. Make sense?
Yes, totally.
Okay.
Definitely.
Very
Thank you.
powerful, though. Very powerful question. Excellent question. And Hajra, what you just said is really, really cool. So Bilal, go ahead. All the women are taking the seats, man. So go ahead real quick. Bilal is going to ask his wife for permission, right? So
No. I'll save it for next week. There are some things I need to review before I ask the question.
okay,
so
very
I'll
good,
save it.
very good, very good. Okay, anybody else? Last final thing. I know we need to go. And we're good. All right, guys. These sessions are going to get really, really cool. They're going to get, to me, like the more I go through this and the more that information is presented, I hope what is happening is you're starting to see a different reality. You're starting to see something like, oh my God, there's so much to communication that I never even knew. I never even noticed. And now it's just starting to dawn on you, like this one. What I hope is for you to leave this class with just a completely different sense of awareness to every single cue that's around you. And you could build these things, and then you can train your ears, and you can train your tongue, and you can train your eyes to see and to act and to say and to hear what you need to hear to be able to convey just much more powerful messages to other people. And then you can influence at a much greater level. And that's really the goal. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you so much. I'm going to finish my brownie, and I'm going to hopefully go live for the next 3 hours and take an Orco or something. But we'll go from there. And I'll see you guys next week. Okay. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.